Now, here's another victim of the Chinatown crew, one of the 18 murders presented at the Family Secrets trial. This was Chicago associate and old Grand Avenue crew member Henry Cosentino, and Nick Calabrese testified that his brother and Ronnie Jarrett killed this man. Now, Henry Cosentino got in a fight with this guy here, Goomba, a made member of the Chicago outfit. They got in a fight, and Henry made the fatal mistake of shooting Goomba in the leg, pretty much signing his own death certificate. Shortly after that, Frank Calabrese went to Angelo Petria for permission to get Henry killed. Here's U.S. Attorney John Scully. He was part of the prosecution team led by Mitch Mars and Marcus Funk. One day I was at the Dunkin' Donuts across the street from Dirksen Federal Building on a Saturday afternoon, and there he was actually working on the case. He said to me, "You're not one of those guys, are you?" I said, No, not at all. But he led Nick Calabrese through his direct testimony of the murder of Harry Constantino as Nick looked straight ahead. Now, there will never be a star witness like this again. Nick Calabrese, he looked straight ahead as he testified, never once looking over at his brother Frank Sr. He testified that he waited around at a spot that he thought Henry was going to show up at for over 30 hours. When he finally didn't show, Nick left, and Nick was worried that he was going to get killed for not carrying out the murder of Henry. Now, the very next day, when Nick hooked up with his brother, Frank Calabrese told him, "We took care of that last night." Him and the little guy hogtied him, and then he made a motion slicing his throat with his finger. When John Scully asked Frank Calabrese on the stand, "Did you hogtie and cut Henry Constantino's throat?" Frank started laughing out loud and said he didn't even know who that man was. Now, throughout the Family Secrets trial, there was a lot of talk how the crew would use transmitters, police scanners, and walkie-talkies for their murders and a lot of their major scores that they did. Nick Calabrese testified that he was driving around with Ronnie Jarrett for hours and hours with a police scanner and a walkie-talkie trying to locate Henry Constantino. Nick Calabrese testified that sometimes they would refer to Ronnie Jarrett as Pancho or the little guy when they talked in code, and that he helped Frank Calabrese kill Henry Constantino. Ronnie Jarrett was talked about a lot at the Family Secrets trial, and if he didn't die prior, he definitely would have been a defendant in this case, a high-ranking associate of the Chinatown crew. Nick Calabrese testified that he didn't actually participate in the murder of Henry. However, he did admit to stalking him and tailing him for several hours. He testified that his brother Frank told him that they hogtied him and eventually slit his throat, giving him the Calabrese necktie. Now, back in March 1997, Henry Constantino, 52 years old, a Chicago associate, went missing for many months. When they finally found him on the south side of Chicago, they popped open the trunk of his car, and there he was, trunk music, with his throat slit from ear to ear. Another victim of the Chinatown crew.